Hello Year 11. Today we're going to do about evolution. So here's your folder and this is today's lesson. I'm just going to quickly pop onto the PowerPoint to explain everything a little bit. Now, first of all, what is evolution? Well, it's how species change over time. Okay, we weren't always humans. We evolved from bacteria and then into fish and then to amphibians, etc. So we evolved. And how do we know that plants and animals were different in the past? That one is always going to be fossils. We have dug up fossils of dinosaurs. We have dug up fossils of animals or plants, and we can see that they're different than they are now. Now, there's a lot of words on this, but it gives you sort of a bit of a recap. It sort of explains a little bit about what evolution is. It talks about mutations. It talks about DNA. Then it gives you a few questions. These questions are like recap. So have a go at them. You don't have to write them down if you don't want to. You can do them in your head. You can write them on a bit of paper. That's fine too. The answer's on the next slide. So I'm just going to skip past. Now, Charles Darwin is the person that proposed the theory of natural selection. In science, whenever we talk about a theory, we are talking about something that has been proven. Okay, so if you have a theory in everyday life, you're thinking something might be the case. In science, if you've got a theory, it has been proven. Okay, it's like a collection of ideas and we know that they are correct because they describe facts. Now, I'll let you read through this at your own pace, but it's talking about how animals change over time. Now, if we look here, this is a question again. This is two different species of butterfly. Okay, the one on the left has a horrible taste. Okay, this one here, the amorous, has a horrible taste. The birds don't eat it. This thing here on the right doesn't have a horrible taste. So I'm going to explain very briefly how this happens. Now, the amorous, I'm going to call it A. This has been around for millions of years, let's just say, and it tastes minging. Birds don't like it, so they avoid it completely. This one, the H butterfly, was preyed on by birds, and eventually over time, because of random mutations and random changes in its genes, it accidentally ended up looking like this one here. Because of that, because it looks so similar to this, and birds know that the A butterfly tastes horrible, this H one won't get eaten. So if all of his brothers and sisters get eaten because they look a little bit different, but this one here looks identical to a different species of butterfly, and the birds leave it alone, it will survive and then it will breed. Okay. So there's a bit of a hint there. I know this is quite a complicated question. I'd like you to try and have a go at it, and then the answers are here. I'm going to skip past. Some nice videos here if you'd like to watch them. And as I said before, fossils. We've got fossils of these animals in the past, so we know that these animals existed in the past, and you can kind of see the natural progression it takes to get to a horse. Now, that is just a quick go through of the PowerPoint. There's some more questions in the back here that I'd like you to answer in your head or on a paper. Now the next section is about extinction. Now, extinction is the permanent disappearance of a species, whether locally or globally. For example, dinosaurs. They went extinct millions of years ago. And causes of extinction. These are the 5 causes of extinction that you need to remember. The easiest one to remember, because of the dinosaurs, we think a massive meteor hit the earth and wiped most of the living organisms out. So that includes dinosaurs. Okay, so that would class as environmental change, very, very quick and sudden environmental change, or habitat destruction. For example, cutting down trees. Any animals that live in trees, they have nowhere to live, so they could end up dying off and going extinct. 2, introduced species. This one here has happened in the UK. You don't see red squirrels anymore because the grey squirrels were introduced from another country. These grey squirrels were bigger and they were more aggressive, and they pushed all the red squirrels out, and now there's only a few red squirrels left in the very north of the country, well, in the very, like in Scotland, in certain areas. Again, hunting and fishing, we cause things to go extinct, so they're very obvious causes. They are all you need to know about extinction. I'm going to go on to a task just quickly, so I'm going to exit the PowerPoint. So, here is a question that I'd like to have a look. Now, I'm going to skip past the first part because you can have a little think about that. And again, the answers are here at the bottom of the page. Now, here, we used to think that if you stretch your neck, you grow longer. Okay, we disproved that, and we thought that's how giraffes became long-necked. Charles Darwin came along and basically showed that evolution was a thing. Now, I'm going to skip to question C here. Use the scientist's recent observations to give another explanation for the evolution of the long neck of a male giraffe. Okay. Now, let's have a look at these bullet points. Giraffes spend almost all the dry season, when there is not much food, feeding from low bushes. Right. They're feeding from low bushes, you don't need a long neck. Only in the wet season do they feed from tall trees when there are new leaves. Okay, so when it's the wet season, you do need a long neck. Females spend over 50% of their time feeding with their necks horizontal. Well, females don't need a long neck at all then, pretty much. Both sexes feed faster and most often with their necks bent. Again, you don't need a long neck. Here, long giraffe necks are very important in male-to-male combat. Males fight each other with their long, powerful necks. Now this is where you would need a long, powerful neck. So, using these observations, how do we think these giraffes have evolved? So let's have a look. Now, the only time that long necks are really important is when males fight each other. So, if you've got a longer neck, you have got an advantage and you win. If you win, you get to mate with the females. So if you've got a longer neck, you get to pass your genes on. If you've got a shorter neck, you don't, because you lose the fight. So the males with longer necks win fights with other males. That's the first point. The winning males are more likely to mate with females. That's the second point. So that gene for long necks is passed on to the children, even if the females don't need it. And that is the third point, okay? So this is what evolution and natural selection, they're so closely tied together, they are almost talking about the same thing. So make some notes, have a go at this question, okay? And then we are pretty much finished this topic now.